Synapsys integration. So we utilize Synapsys here at Credit Union. I work at Credit Union of America, and like many of you, we had a lot of different problems with. We've had a lot of different problems with Synapsys. Some of you may already be using it, and some of you are, have been using it for some time and probably having difficulties. We basically, when we dug into this ourselves, we realized that there's some major limitations with the product, and had some significant difficulties getting buy-in from staff. Mostly, it has to do with the fact that staff had to Alt-Tab over to the other product, and then log into Synapsys. There's a lot of different issues, but the biggest thing is just simply integration problems. It's again, logging in, Alt-Tabbing over. You have to build the profile, which is a real pain. So with Episys, of course, you just bring up the account, but then if you wanted to actually go over and do a referral or a service event or a contact event, then you're going to have to basically go into Synapsys and type in the member's number again or social security number, and then build the profile for that person. That whole process takes a long time, and it slows down the actual process. Again, it adds significant time to the actual process and slows down the operation. Then, for the most part, it's very, very difficult to get buy-in for a CRM from staff. Even if you push at it from a management team level, it's very difficult to get buy-in from a staff standpoint. So, with this facilitates that. This resolves a lot of the problems associated with that. So. The teller transaction screen, again, is where cross-sell opportunities are, but a lot of the times tellers don't do that. Also, the member service staff, your actual member service staff, your PSRs, MSRs, CSRs, whatnot, those often they don't go to the teller transaction screen very often, so it's difficult for them to see those cross-sell opportunities. The other big problem is Synagrator. Synagrator has got some significant issues. It's not really designed very effectively. So, I know that there's a lot of credit unions that have had difficulties with Synagrator, and it crashing and just simply not emails not going out effectively. So we work to resolve that issue as well. Okay. So the solution that we built is basically it allows for everyone to see cross-sell opportunities, create and service events and referral events. They're all built into the account overview screen, which we'll display here in just a second. And then it's all built into Episys. So so everything is built into a single platform within Episys, so you aren't having to go over to the Synapsys interface or the Synapsys screens to do things. So this is the account overview screen. This is actually the account overview itself was originally part of Scimitar's base programming, but we've modified it to add in several additional buttons here: the member interactions, referral and service events, and then down here unclaimed, claimed, and member interactions. So these buttons in here, we're basically modifying this version of the product to add in these additional functionality. But this is all within Episys again, so you're in a standard account in standard Episys screen. Referral and service events. So from this screen, then you would click the actual referral and service event button. When you bring that up, then it's going to bring up this screen right here. So it opens from the accounts overview. You then select the person that you're working with, and then you're going to select what type of actual referral or service event you're working with. And then at that point, you can refer either to an employee, and this is going to pull from your employee list, or a department. You select a department from the drop-down. You can also add in a follow-up date, so you can change the date. So by default, it's going to follow up, after a few days. But you can but you can change that date if, in case the actual referral or service event you aren't going to need to follow up for some time. There's also a really neat option here, which is ability to upload files. So, if you're creating a referral event, which is specifically for, you need to attach something to an event, some type of documentation associated with the event, you can upload a file which will connect right onto to the service or referral event, and it'll stay with that throughout the process. And then you can access that from within the account summary screen. The biggest thing is that it uses the same Synapsys database in exactly the same ways. So if events are created on Synapsys, they show up on the account overview screen. If they're created here within the referral and service event section, they show up exactly the same way. So it's the same database. Everything's working exactly the same way on the back end. The same reports are available for service and referral events and contact events, but on the front end, you've basically eliminated the need for frontline staff to be able to have to log into to Synapsys. Contact events launch from the account summary screen again. That's actually the member interactions button right here. So when you click that, it's going to pop this up. By default, it's going to pull in the branch that you're associated with. So it'll have visited branch, corporate office. You can do the drop down and select an alternate branch or location. Again, uses the same Synapsys database. And then when you type in your contact event here and click Create Interaction, then it's going to display it on the account overview screen. This is the account overview screen. So this is when we go back up here and we look here, this is the unclaimed and the claimed section of the account overview screen. So you see here that these are unclaimed events. So these are events that are assigned to a specific department or group. So in this case, there's a service event that was assigned, that was referred by me. It's a gap claim. And then here's the description of the event. And then here's what group it's assigned to. So you can reassign it to a different group by doing the drop-down and selecting a different group, or you can simply claim the event. When you claim the event from this area, it'll move it from the unclaimed section to the claimed section, which is right down here. And then it will indicate who claimed the event. So it'll assign it to, in this case, if I claim this, it would assign it to me. So in this case, this is a service event. Here was the date, is referred by the type of event it was, the description of the event, and then here's your file. So I mentioned the file upload. You can click on that file and it'll pop up the file. And then from this screen, then this is where you'd change it from active to closed, or from to resolved, or it could be you could change it to pending, for example. These statuses are pulled from the Synapsys database as well. So you'll have different actual statuses for referral events and service events. But again, you can those are pulled from the statuses which were set up on Synapsys. So you have the ability to modify those as required. Finally, there's this contact section right here. So if you have a specific service or referral event and you needed to contact the member, then you can click this and it'll create a contact event for that specific event. So everything on here is done using .NET. So if you change things on here, like if you assigned it to a different person or to a group, or change the status, it doesn't refresh the screen. It'll just immediately take effect on the front end. So member interactions, I talked about the contact events. I can, from a referral or a service event, I can click the contact. I can create the contact event. It'll then add that to the member interaction section right here. So in this section, then, you have the ability to see all the extra interactions that have been done with that member. You can delete these off if you needed to. You can also determine which actual referral or service event this was associated with by clicking on the link. So if you click this, then it'll scroll up and it'll highlight the actual referral or service event that you're working on. You can also, you can do the reverse as well. I could click on this and it'll actually scroll down and highlight the contact event, all the contact events that are associated with a given referral or service event. All items drop off the system after 60 days, so it stays on. It stays on the account overview screen for 60 days. After 60 days, it'll clear off the list and basically won't be hit. It'll be hidden. It's still in the database. It's still visible within Synapsys. So if you go over to Synapsys, you'd still be able to see all of these events, but it hides them from the context and from the main screen here. Also, if you make an actual either a contact event or a referral event or a service event or anything, and you add in a very, very long description, you do have the ability to have this expand button gets automatically added to that. So when you bring up the account overview screen and you click the expand button, then it'll expand that, and you'd be able to see that whole text. But this prevents it from, if you've got a long a long interaction with a member, or if you've got a very complex issue, then you don't have to see all the context of that. Email notifications. Email notifications are set up and they're automatically run. So when you it will email you if you assign an issue to someone. Like if I created an issue and I assigned it to a department or a group, that department or group will receive an email indicating that there was an issue created. Once they receive the email indicating that the issue was created and it's assigned to their group, then when they go ahead and go in there and they claim that issue, it's going to email me back and indicate, hey, Bob picked up this issue and he's working on it. Then once he closes that issue out, then it's going to also email me and indicate that Bob worked the issue and he's now resolved the problem. So the idea, and then also if an issue was reassigned, like if Bob decides that he can't fix this problem, needs to reassign it to a department or a group or another person, he can reassign that. And it will email me back and indicate that the issue was reassigned. So the idea with that is there's back and forth communication. So you aren't ever left with issues that get stuck out there and nobody's working, or there's problems that are outstanding. We have this RQ report, and this is in addition to the base product, but this is an excellent report. It's not actually necessary, but it is an excellent report. This report is largely for the clients on the call who utilize RQ, but if you don't use RQ, you can still use all the standard reports out of Synapsys. So any reports out of Synapsys are 100% functional, and you can pull in how the actual, any of these actual call statistics and completion statistics. However, this report is a really nice tool to help manage the way that staff are utilizing the product. So a queue, when you look at an actual branch or a queue, there'll be a queue assigned. In this case, West Douglas. It has all the staff members who are actually assigned to that department, how many actual service events were assigned to them, how many are still open. The idea behind this report is this is a way that an actual department or a branch can help manage their own, or can help manage, a branch manager, for example, can help manage his branch. So he can see that on the actual queue, the queue that was assigned to his branch, he's got 37 referral events that were created, and there are 3 of them that are still open and outstanding. He can then click on those values, and it'll drill down and actually show them the accounts and the issues that are out open and lingering. And then from a branch standpoint, he can see all of his staff and see if his staff are going in and working their open referral and service event issues. if you've got somebody who's got a significant number of referral or service events that are assigned to them, and they haven't gone in and closed those out, then that would be something that the branch manager would obviously follow up with that staff member to try and get them using the system more effectively. Okay, so the problem solved. We don't have to deal with Syntegrator, which is a big deal because there's a lot of problems there. So marketing can still create referral and campaigns from the actual Synapsys side. So if you're using an MCIF, for example, and you create a campaign, you can generate that. You can create the actual referral and service events and the sales opportunities, and apply those out to departments or people, and they can get picked up by staff. Frontline staff don't have to get into Synapsys, which is also a big thing, and it's just built. And then cross-selling is much more effective. I'll show you that here when I do the demo, but cross-selling is significantly easier with this. And then again, the biggest thing is that it's built around the way that staff are actually doing their jobs. So instead of being built around really, having to go into another platform, you're really doing the CRM functions as you assist with members. Okay, so I'll do a quick demo here, and then we'll open it up for questions. Okay, so this is the account overview screen. So the way that this works for us specifically, is when the second that we bring up an account, it will automatically bring up this screen. Ours is a little bit more customized. If by default you'll get the base product and of the account overview screen, which is this one right here. If you want to have customization, and the technology happens, people will assist with that. If you want more customization, then Mike's group will assist you with that. But Mike will talk more about that. Okay, so this is the account overview. So I'm going to go ahead and create a referral and service event. So I click that, and then I'm going to go ahead and assign this to the test group, because this is, I'm sorry. We're going to create a consumer loan. Okay, and we're going to assign it to the test group. Okay, at this point I could go ahead and click and set a follow-up date for this. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 4th, and then I could do a file upload, but I'm not going to do that. So we'll create the event. You'll notice here that this starts flashing up here. You see this sale opportunities? So if you can create these on the back end as well. But in this case, anytime that you're going to bring up this screen, which again, for us, is every single time you basically you bring up the account, then it's going to start flashing this, and then if I click this, it's going to scroll down and highlight the actual referral event. So I can quickly see, hey, there's a potential consumer loan for this guy. This guy, he came back into the branch. He's coming back in here, and he wants he potentially wants a consumer loan. So this is a really good potential for a sales opportunity. So at this point, I can go ahead and claim the event, or I can go ahead and reassign it to a different group, for example, and it would send them an email. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and claim this. So then it will move it from the unclaimed section. It's now gone from here, and now it's in the unclaimed, or it's in the claim section. And you'll see here that the status is in progress. I can change the status and indicate that it's closed, or that the alpha was accepted or declined. Again, these are pulled from Synapsys. So I can also reassign it to a specific person or back to a group. So so this is really neat. So I can assign it to a specific person within your credit union, and just you can add a contact event indicating what you're doing, or you can go ahead and reassign it to a group. So if I reassigned it back to test, then it's reassigned. If I come back into this screen now, then under the unclaimed section, it's back under unclaimed, and it's flashing the sales opportunity again. So so now if I can claim it again, and now I've claimed it. And then if I go ahead and I I can go ahead and decline this offer, for example. That automatically changes the status. It's done. There's nothing more that has to be done at this point. If I bring this screen back up, this item will actually be at the bottom of the list. It'll stay on the actual list, but it moves to the bottom so that and here I'm getting emails now indicating that there's service events and there's a new item claimed. But again, this one's been changed to offer decline. In this case, I'm going to add a contact event. I have two different ways to do that. I can just go ahead and add an actual contact event here. Okay, so I can do just a normal phone call, for example, and that's going to add that to the member interactions area here. So it's going to say then if you've got staff that are in the phone center, for example, and a member calls in and says, hey, somebody called me from one of the branches. I don't know who it was. Can you help me? Then at that point, then any of your branch staff, your phone center staff could bring up this screen, could look here and say, oh, that was Richard. Let me get you in touch with him. So then you don't have the issue of trying to send out emails or track down who was actually calling that member initially. You can also create an event or create a contact event which is associated with a referral or service event. So if I can click the contact button here. Contact. Okay, and then you'll see here that this one now has the referral option here, and if I click on that, then it goes ahead and highlights that up here. So I can see, okay, that's associated with this one, or vice versa. If I click that, then it highlights both of these and says, it indicates who was actually contacted and what the deal was on those. Finally, I want to show you one more thing here really quick, and that's that's the ability for our members waiting. This is a really, really neat function as well. I didn't have this in my slide, but we added the ability to do members waiting, which is essentially if you have members waiting in the lobby. Synapsys has a members waiting functionality, but it has some issues. So I'm going to again assign this to the test group. I'm going to click the members waiting, and then I'm going to indicate member wants a new car. Okay, and we could do, we'll do, let's check copies. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and click the Create Service or Referral event. This would typically be done by a receptionist, for example, or it could be done from tellers. A teller could create an event indicating that the member is waiting. It could be done by the teller in the case where either the teller line is significant ways away from the member service area, or you just simply have, in the instance where there's just a lot of people in the lobby that are waiting for assistance. Again, the teller can go ahead and create these members waiting events, in which case then when we bring up this members waiting and we go to the test queue, we've got two issues out here. One is a collections issue. This is the third test. Okay, so this is ordered by the people when they came into the branch. So I've got our test user here, unknown, and then we've got another member, Jamie Lottamoney, who's also a test user, and it'll indicate that what the actual problem is. So in this case, this guy's been waiting 65 minutes, and this member has only been waiting a minute. So at this point, I would go ahead and I'd want to assist Jamie because it's the next member that's in line. By the way, this by default, I just brought this up. I'm not assigned to a department or group, but if I was assigned to a specific department, for example, it'll automatically bring up their queue. So if you bring up members waiting at a branch, for example, it'll immediately bring up the actual members that are waiting out in their lobby. But so in this case, Jamie's actually out here, and needs assistance. So I'd go ahead and click pick up on this member. It's going to bring up the account, and it's going to indicate the member has been, that you've, and then you'd go out and pick up the member. And at that point, you're going to come in here, and after you've finished working with the member and you've resolved their issues, then you're going to come in and actually change the actual status event to resolved. And so this creates essentially it creates a service referral event, which then you close out. And by doing this, what this does is this does 4 different things. When I create the actual event, the referral or service event, when I create that initially, that's going to be the time that the member has effectively checked in, or that's when they're there. Then once you click pick up, then from the event, once you click pick up, that's when the staff member has begun assisting them. And then finally, once I go into the account and I change the actual status of the event to resolved, that's when I've actually completed with the member and the member is actually in the building. And there's reports from Synapsys which can be pulled, which actually show the actual time to assist members on that and the other issues on there. Okay, so I think that's about all that I wanted to go through